Hello, this is Genevieve Fontana coming to you from Canisius University in Buffalo, New York, and you're listening to the Did You Know podcast. You might not know it, but we have eco-heroines around our campus working to make it sustainable for future generations. For each show, I will spotlight earth-friendly initiatives and sit down with changemakers of our institution. Today we are spotlighting Veronica Serwacki, Executive Associate of the School of Arts and Sciences. She's also an alum, and she is the chapter coordinator of Alpha Sigma Nu. Veronica was involved with the creation of the East-West Community Garden at Canisius and has worked in the community garden every summer. She has also recently purchased 47 acres of wetland as part of the Wild Way to save from any future development. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
You're very welcome.
So our first question is, please introduce yourself and explain a little bit about your role at Canisius.
Yes, I'm Veronica Serwacki. I've been at Canisius for many years, going back into the 1980s, I believe. But I just love Canisius. I love its mission. I love the Jesuit ideals, and I connected to them immediately and just have engrossed myself in the education of the whole person. And I've had the most wonderful opportunity to actually take classes here and get my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, and my master's degree, all at Canisius while I was working. So I feel very, very, very grateful for that experience and that ability to do that at Canisius. But from a young child, I've always been fascinated with wild lands and the wilderness in Africa where I grew up, and very connected to wildlife. And so that has been in me since childhood.
That's amazing.
So I want to save the earth. I want to save the earth for the wildlife as well. And I think it's really important for us to include every living thing on earth in our circle of compassion. So that's a deep belief of mine.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about your campus involvement specifically with the East-West Community Garden?
So at its inception, we had a number of very talented faculty and staff members starting this project. There was a piece of land right next door to a house that had just been sold on Lafayette, and we wanted to turn that land, it was still belonged to Canisius, into a community garden. And a number of us got together and set up a whole protocol and proposal, and we ended up putting in boxes for vegetables, for growing vegetables. We all got together and built those together. We've expanded the number of boxes. We probably have about 12 to 14 now. And every year we've had vegetables planted in there. We've had some community members. We'd like more community members involved in taking care of a box for the summer and planting what they want and taking care of it. And we've had a few events as well, gatherings on certain dates, that Halloween and
the Fall Fest.
We've big gatherings when we close up the garden or open up the garden, and that's coming up very soon, where we're going to get together. I think it's Juneteenth, maybe. I don't know for sure. We'll probably get together and get something going. There are already community members who have asked for boxes.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, so we're hoping that will progress and that they will stay interested. And some of the Canisius faculty have taken on boxes as well. And it requires a daily commitment. And last summer, I was very happy to have a student from the pre-med program work with me. She knew nothing about gardening, but she wanted to help. She had a number of volunteer hours that she wanted to use towards this garden, and I was so happy that she chose the garden, because throughout, we would meet once or twice a week to water and weed and keep the garden maintained. And she learned a lot. She learned that she liked gardening. She really didn't have any knowledge of it prior to that. So it was very satisfying for me to have exposed a student who had no experience in the garden.
Right. And provided her that experience.
Yeah, and provide that experience for her and actually have her enjoy it and reach out to me excitedly every week, say, when are we getting together again? Yeah. We would sit and chat and weed and you know, water, and it was just a wonderful experience. I hope that can happen again soon with some students.
Yeah.
I really hope that students get involved.
I know how much the sustainability committee, we came to the Fall Fest and we harvested all the tomatoes and everything like that, and that's such a rewarding experience to be able to do that. And then people who, the community members who are have each box, then they can take the produce and anything that they
absolutely choose. And last year we got a lot of the vegetables and herbs donated. They were just dropped off.
That's awesome.
So we managed to fill every single box with something. Some of the herbs have regrown this year, so we'll keep them.
I know we had a lot of green tomatoes, and Dr. Margulis was going to make fried green tomatoes or something along those lines.
Yes.
So what are some things that are grown in the East-West Community Garden?
So tomatoes are very popular. Lettuce. I think kale was very popular. Actually, anything. Beans. I think there was some green beans. I'm trying to think back. There was a variety of stuff, but most of it general, you know, what people like.
Right.
And then there was some interesting herbs that we were waiting to see what, you know, they came up. And they're perennials, so they come up every year, so they grew up again.
That's great.
So it was really nice to have all those. I think cabbage was grown. But mostly tomatoes, and little ones, big ones, and they really thrived. So it's nice to see that.
Very hardy,
very hardy. And
what inspired your love for gardening?
I've always loved gardening and gardens. My grandmother was a great influence on me. I used to go down to her farm in Tanzania. She had a coffee farm there and was running it on her own because her husband died fairly young in life, and she managed the whole coffee farm, and she was an amazing woman, and she loved gardening. She had beautiful gardens. She had help, you know, maintaining the gardens, but she decided what was going in them. Mostly beautiful flowers that grow well in Africa. So I got that. I sort of developed that young in life, and I've always loved gardening. And nowadays what I do is I promote perennials that are native, so that they can, you know, they're hardier, they last longer, they come up, you know, easier in the spring, and they support the wildlife. They support insects, which we need desperately, because I don't pesticide or herbicide anywhere on my garden plot at home. And it supports the insects, and I love to see them flying around, and then all the bunnies that get born, miraculously they pop out of a hole in the garden, and there they are. They're tiny little things, and they're consuming all the dandelions. So, you know, that's a wonderful thing to keep, because I've watched this baby bunny take the base of the dandelion stalk, the flower, and the flower is dead, and it eats the entire stalk, and it cleared up a whole area in
How
my
nice
garden.
of it.
It was helping me garden. So we need to work, we need to connect to all of this life, you know, and see how each component of it is benefiting the other, you know, plants and animals and insects and humans. We all need to live together. Sustainably on this planet.
Definitely. So what do you think of the coffee here, since the coffee at home is very
I did not grow up drinking coffee. My parents did. But I love coffee now. Now, she grew Arabica coffee, and she would dry it, and then it would get loaded into sacks as a dried coffee bean, but raw. and then they roast them. So that the bags would go off for roasting and then selling.
Yeah.
So we did. My parents, drank her coffee in the mornings. Definitely.
I'm sure there's a difference.
Yes.
So much more natural and fresh and
yes,
everything.
So I remember the coffee beans are bright red.
Oh wow.
It's a pulpy fruit, and it's small, and it has 2 beans inside.
Mm-hmm.
And that outer layer was very, very sweet. It was like a fruit.
Oh.
So my brother and I would go down into the coffee plantation to eat some of those, but we weren't encouraged to eat too many. So, but anyway, that was an interesting experience.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Growing. Yeah, watching the whole process. Yeah, it was fascinating.
And you have so much more of an appreciation for the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it is quite a process.
Right.
Yes, you have to separate the beans from the pulp. And that's quite a process. And then you have to dry them. And she used to sun dry them.
Oh.
They were dried in the sun on big sort of like benches with wire, and then sacks on top. And then the beans would be placed on top of those, and they would dry by the sun.
That's very cool.
Yeah. She'd come down every afternoon and check them to see how dry they were and whether they were ready or not.
Yeah, it's what a great memory too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, fabulous. Yeah.
So what is your advice for those who want to start a garden?
So I think basically just jump right into it, get some really good topsoil, and dig out put the soil in, hopefully organic vegetables, and just plant and see how it goes. I mean, don't use pesticides or herbicides if you don't want that growing inside the fruits of your labors.
Right.
It's nice to keep away from that. But just dig. Digging in the earth is good for you. It feels good. It makes you feel good. And just try it out. Just buy a bunch of small little seedlings and just start growing and watch it. And it's a fascinating experience. Yeah.
And if anyone doesn't have any space, they can help you in the East-West Community Garden.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yes.
Just love some help there. Yeah.
And what are some ways in which you make earth-friendly choices in your life?
Well, I recycle just about everything, and if I can't recycle it, I try to find a reuse for it. That's major in my household. And everything gets washed, because I realize that you can't throw plastic or anything out if it's soiled.
It still has stuff in it, yes.
And then put it in the recycling bin. So from that point, I hope it does get recycled, but I really don't know what our area does with it. We're in Amherst, Williamsville area, so I'm hoping they do have a good recycling program on that. But I do my part, wash it, put it in the recycling bin.
Yeah.
So that's major. I try not to use a lot of plastic. The water always comes in one plastic bottle that I use over and over again, because it's a liter, and I like to drink that much a day. I have to hydrate. So I do, and at home I'm always, very careful about not leaving lights on in a room that, is not occupied.
Right.
So I'm always switching off lights and conserving energy that way. There's a myriad of ways that one can be sustainable in their own lives and not waste. So waste not, want not.
Right.
Yeah.
I like how you said some simple things that people just don't think of that you can do every day.
Yeah. And don't let the water run, Sure, if you've got a dripping tap, make sure it gets taken care of so it's not dripping.
Right.
Things like that.
Definitely.
There's many little things that somebody can do. Yeah.
Anything can help.
Yeah.
So we all know that becoming a sustainable individual is a process. And what are some things that you hope to implement in your life?
So I'm all about, sustainability also involves, keeping certain parts of the environment safe and not torn up and, devastated.
Right.
So my goal has always been to buy a piece of land, and I finally found a piece that was wetland area. And what really enticed me with this land is it was connected to part of the New York State land as well that was natural, had ponds in it, looked beautiful. It runs right alongside that piece of land. It's 47 acres, so it was up for sale.
Yeah.
The owner was going to take it off the market the next day, and I thought, I've just got to jump on this. So
you saw your opportunity and you took it.
And it's wetland, and it's beautiful, and it has trees, and it has ponds, and it has vernal pools, for salamanders. So I thought, I can't see this land get developed. So that's what I did. That's what I was able to do, and I was very fortunate that I was able to buy the land. So now I have this 47 acres. So I'm now going to meet with the Western New York Nature Conservancy.
Yeah.
Have them walk the land with me with a naturalist and see what we can do with it. 'Cause
that's great.
I'm determined that it's going to be natural forever as far as I can help it. It's also part of the Wild Way, which is a wild corridor from the northeast of the United States, actually from Canada all the way down to Florida. So it's a corridor for animals. So it's part of that, and I was very happy to find that out. Western New York Land Conservancy told me that it was, confirmed that it was part of that. So that made me feel like I'd made the right decision.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I could do, and there's many other things that people can do. So we might have some education on the land, have people come on the land and do some education.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of my goals. And also, create some meadowland as well, and maybe plant a lot of milkweed for butterflies.
I love milkweed. Yes.
For
the monarchs. Yeah.
Try to save them. Yeah. So.
And what other wildlife have you seen on your?
Oh, it's a variety.
Property?
There's so many different species of birds, phoebes. I've seen tons of little wrens, and we've got wrens and a lot of the. I would have to say we've got the big raptors as well. We got I saw red-tailed hawks soaring around, turkey vultures. There's a ton. We've seen beavers as well.
With the wetlands,
it's a wetland, so they've been blocking up certain areas of the land. So a lot of turtles, snapping turtles, fish in some of the ponds. A lot of salamanders during that vernal pool period. So it's a huge variety, and that's also what captured me, a huge variety of birds and species of birds.
It's very exciting.
Yes, wrens and a lot of oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the name of the bird, and it's not coming to me right now, but it will.
Yeah.
Probably after this interview.
So what are some ways Canisius can help you make changes?
Canisius can help me make changes?
Yeah.
Oh, by signing on to everything sustainable and recycling. And I think they have started that. So as much as they can do, I would love them to probably never pesticide or herbicide again. They've gone through periods of time where they have and they haven't. And I think we need to promote, safe land, which without pesticides and herbicides that go into the water systems and kill all the insects, and then it's a dead zone, So the piece by Lions, I don't believe that they're pesticiding or herbiciding that, but if they can let that grow natural into meadow, that would be really nice.
It would be wonderful.
And it would be a very wonderful place to take students and learn about, biological mechanisms and insects and how they support the environment and support animals and birds, and how they connect and how very important they are. So I think that would be, somebody wanted to do that way back in a few years back in biology. They wanted that land as a sort of bio project.
Yeah.
I think it could still be if they're open to it. So that would be wonderful.
I would love that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is your vision for sustainability on campus? Besides the meadow?
Yeah, the meadow, I would say increase recycling. Try to make sure that everybody's educated about recycling and what to put in what bins, because I see a lot of stuff in the recycling bins that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So that, I think Canisius needs to push that a bit more, educate, everyone at Canisius on that, and try to really keep a strict eye on it and make sure that the recyclables are recycled.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if anyone is listening who is interested in becoming involved in the East-West Community Garden, who should they contact?
Well, there's a number of faculty involved, especially over in anthrozoology and biology. Yeah. Of course, they are all involved. I know Josh Russell is, and Katie Costanzo, and Sue Makulis. We're all the original starters of the garden, the community garden. So yeah, definitely, and they're very welcome to reach out to me too. So if they want to get involved, we'll get them involved immediately.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was a pleasure to do this. Thanks for